Zimbabwe cash crisis worse. About Venezuela once again.
Systemic important banks. They removed the 1,000 they called monetary indebtedness. Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RT News updates. And as you can tell from today's title, we're going to be talking about a meeting going on right now in Russia, an investment conference of which Putin was asked a question in reference to what's going on with relations between the U.S. and Russia. And his comments had to do with the idea that Russia is not looking to get away from the dollar, but it's the U.S. that's forcing the dollar away from Russia. And so today I have a quick video as well as an article I want to share with you, and more importantly, share my thoughts with you on how this is it's more of the same of more nations looking to diversify outside of the current reserve currency, i.e. the Federal Reserve note. And so before I dive any further, as always,
RTD want to encourage you to click the subscribe button along with the notification tab to be informed of future updates as well as live streams. Also join me on Twitter where I share posts throughout the day on various subject matters dealing with our monetary system as well as whatever's happening in the news that I can't get to via video. Make sure you click the button down below to be notified when things are posted.
So as I mentioned, I have a primary article here in reference to what Putin actually said during their investment conference. But more importantly, this article here says, Putin says U.S. pressure spurns search for dollar alternatives. And so outside of this article here, if you actually Google Russia's search for alternatives to the dollar, you'll come up with about 247,000 search terms in relation to what's happening outside of Russia with the dollar. And so give you an idea what's going on here. More importantly, take time for yourself to click the links below to find out more in detail. Just want to skim through the surface. But it says Vladimir Putin says that Russia has been forced to reduce its dependence on the US dollar because of the American political pressure. Hence the whole idea of trade wars and everything else. It says Putin said at a business conference today that it is not us who set the goal to go away from the dollar. It's the dollar that goes away from us. It says Putin said the U.S. restrictions has encouraged Russia and others to seek alternatives to the dollar in mutual trade and create payment systems that don't depend on the dollar. And so more on what Putin actually had to say. Here's a short video here, and most importantly, pay attention to the audience's response.
We have no goal of moving away from the dollar. It's the dollar that's moving away from us. Those making such decisions are not shooting themselves in the foot, but somewhere more delicate, further up the body. Because this instability when it comes to doing business with the dollar gives rise to a desire, and it's happening all around the world, to find alternative reserve currencies and create a financial system independent from the dollar.
So as you can tell, based upon the audience response, a lot of people there understand what's going on and the move away from the dollar as the current reserve currency, and the idea that everyone seemed to be chuckling of it being the U.S. fault, and also that the fact that the U.S. is apparently shooting themselves in the foot, also moving up a lot higher, ideally in the head, I would assume, and that right there spells death for the dollar in my interpretation. But I want to move on to the next article here, which is actually the main webpage of the VTB Capital website here. And if you scroll down and give an idea how big this is, it says this year the forum was attended by more than 2,000 guests from over 60 countries, significant investors, heads of leading Russian and foreign companies, well-known specialists in the field of investment finance. And so it says this means that the forum, quote, Russia Calling, has firmly established itself in the world business calendar. And so if you're interested in finding out more details about the actual conference here, if you scroll to this page here and look on the left, you'll see more details into talks and things of that nature. But I believe what's most important is the idea that there's about 2,000 guests from around 60 countries, and it's good to say the primary anchor currency that they're referring to in doing business in Russia and surrounding Russia has nothing to do with the dollar, hence the idea of them needing to build a payment system that utilizes the ruble instead of them being dependent upon using dollars. So that's more of a move away from the Federal Reserve note. And then lastly, I want to leave you with a couple articles here that if you just type in Russian alternatives to the dollar, what comes up in the last couple of weeks or so. So the next article here, it says why I'm starting to worry about the dollar. So this is a professor of international politics at Tufts University and a regular contributor here. And one of the primary things he mentioned in here is Russia and China making plans outside of dollars. And so this is something that has him concerned. So if you go through here, it gives you more details as to why countries are coming up with their own payment systems. To the very next article here says, hitting where it hurts, why Russia, India, and China are growing non-dollar trade. So more information here if you're interested in finding out more about the details here. And it says here the S-400 deal, that won't be done in dollars, but rubles. And then the very next article here says India, Iran, Russia push alternative to Suez Canal. And then it says India, Iran, and Russia will meet next month to discuss the operation of 72,000-kilometer trade and transport corridor that represents a cheaper and shorter alternative to the traditional route through the Suez Canal. So just a little bit more of what's going on here. But I just want to shine some light on what's happening in reference to a conference right now in Russia, where about 2,000 guests from 60 countries are right now talking about plans on doing things outside of the dollar, which further shows the world that if Russia and China are able to make plans outside the dollar, then they themselves can begin doing the same in relation to doing trade, especially with Russia and China. So other than that, just wanted to share some articles here. Would love to hear your thoughts on this whole move away from the dollar. How will this shape out for the remainder of this year? And more importantly, what do you see happening in 2019 and beyond? So leave a comment down below. Would love to hear your thoughts. Other than that, I'll see you later.
Recession will be.
Will be a recession.
We're going to hit a recession.
The date of the next recession.
A U.S.-only recession typically lasts 8 to 10 months.
A crash is coming. Now, whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months, 36 months, no one knows.
If you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this.